a lot to talk about. And it's nice to see Bitcoin. We're about 40 minutes left into the close. And I thought it was more fitting to come on live when we're about to go to the close. I tried to come on a little earlier. Had a little issue here and there, but that doesn't, I don't let that bother me. So I just kept trying to figure it out. And it all works good. And I can see there's a lot of people that are in here. Like, I think it said there was like 25 or 26 people that were in here before the live started. So that's quite a bit of people. Today we've had a very good day here in regards of XRP bounced back perfectly and is over $2.29. It looks like with 40 minutes to spare here, we're in a very good spot. XLM's up about 4.13%. We thought at least in the micro move that it would outperform XRP on, just in the short term. I don't know how long that'll last, but that's what the XLM XRP pairing was showing us. So it at least played out, but it looks like it's about to break out versus XRP. So, and that's not because XRP is not going to move. It's just I think XLM's probably got a bigger move in store in some of these. We'll go over a few others like Algo. Which, if you're in the Telegram, you know my positioning, but I have Algo and IOTA over the past 24 hours. And we'll take a look at data to see what's going on. It's up about 4.96% in the day. I'll look at Theta, ACH as we get going too, assuming we have time. I will really want to focus on XRP. I only put 2 in the title for a reason. I want to focus on XRP, how this could be a major bullish signal. And the pump that could be setting up, and we've talked about the short-term one up to that 265 level. But we definitely need to look into this because right now we pushed over 229. It always feels good, like just moving up 3.8 cents. For us that have 10,000 tokens, regardless of where you bought it, you have 10,000 tokens. I don't care where you bought it. That's a $370 move. So it's not bad. It's not huge. But I mean, $370 is more than we probably made on our normal job. So, in one day. Unless you're making, what would you have to be making? Over $40 an hour. That statement applies to you. But anyhow, I feel pretty good because yesterday we were looking at this and we were trying to figure out how this stuff could play out. And like, we know we have those Bitcoin, and that's what a big moment of contention here lately has been since about Friday, late evening, very early AM Saturday morning, this past weekend. A big deal was the fact that $8 billion worth of Bitcoin, which was 80,008 Bitcoin, was put online. And there's a lot of speculation, but what I really do think is happening is they're using these quantum, I'm telling you, they're using these quantum computing and they're going through dormant wallets. And like Nick said something that was fascinating, and it's true. And I believe it was in the Telegram where I seen him say it, that in California, that after a wallet for Bitcoin's been dormant for so long, they can go in and just take the Bitcoin, which is asinine. But that's not what he's saying is asinine, but the fact that they let them do that, it's insane. But I think that might be more what's going on. And they became active after all these times because with all this software now, this quantum, I think that's more likely what's happening, that these wallets are being purged. I don't want to say a lot more because I would hate to get banned, but I think that's something. And then one more point I want to say is with all the sporadicness in the last 24 hours, I actually, for the first time in over a year, made a purchase on XRP Healthcare. No, I did not get that big drop. When it was bouncing around here in these hourlies, I tried to do something. Where was it at? No, it wasn't even there. It bounced around. There was a few times when it got below 5. I definitely didn't get anywhere near 4. But I just added a few more. I don't even remember how many more. I think I have 100 and... hold on. I have no idea, actually. I had like 63,000 or 65,000 for so long. Or 73,000 for so, I don't remember. It's been so long since I bought this now. Let's go back to the home page. So XRP Healthcare. I have 135,367, and I couldn't really care less what the price does. It's just that it got stuck here. And after that big drop, and that's almost set up for a big move now. It's almost cleared out enough to where you're going to be able to... Man, I have a good feeling about this. We'll see what happens. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I don't care. I just know eventually that thing I'm going to sit here and go, oh my God. Just like we did before, it's going to be better than when we 20x or 25. There's better things in store. But I'm glad to see everybody in here. I'll go through the comments for a little bit. But I really do want to look at XRP in the sense that we talked about this not being a rising wedge and that these are actually like rising triangles. And these are bullish continuation patterns. It's just the pressure builds at such an angle to where it builds that ascending look because there are cells mixed in, but there's no overabundance of cells. And like a very nice tool to use is go to xrpfuturemillionaire.com and continue to push this point because you're going to be able to see me live here soon. I'm doing a meeting tomorrow so that I can get used to all of this stuff so that I can have full control because I paid the people to make the website the way I wanted or the company. And, but just go on here and like it's got XRP from the market cap standpoint on there. It's what do I want it to load up to. But if you want to go to a chart, go here. That looks like a massive, like this just looks like a huge setup here. Like it's going to be hard to convince me that something big isn't setting up here in time even. Even if it wasn't today, I mean in time, you can't convince me. MACD, I mean, there's still positive flow. It died off a little bit. But you can't convince me that something big isn't brewing there. So I made the decision that like the ones like Algo and IOTA and Alchemy Pay and only Theta did I do the leverage, which it's doing fine, but I don't advise that. So I'm not going to talk much about that. I'll just talk about it as if it's a position. But Data and XLM, these I decided when I was buying them, and the group knows if you're part of the Telegram, that I'm riding these inverse head and shoulders patterns until failure. So, and it's 1x trade, so it's not like it's a leverage trade. It's just spot, and it's ones that I don't want to not have, but I don't mind selling them out if it goes lower, if it broke that formation. But, you can take a breath and not have to watch it every 2 seconds because this formation is going to take a minute. If it drops out, it drops out. But right now, we're doing everything we need to do. So far. But don't get it twisted. We haven't broke 234 yet. Once we break and hold 234, it's a whole new ball game. And we're going to be sitting here going, holy Toledo. So, Crypto Cooter, thank you so much for the $5.85 donation. And also being in Tom's over 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. That's amazing. Thank you so much. What is the pattern and validation to cut and run on Filecoin and Data? Thanks, Tom. I mean, I'm not looking at it from a leverage or micro status move. I'm looking at it from an overall standpoint of we're on these inverse head and shoulders, so it's simple. It's very simple for Filecoin. I can give you that information in about, as long as it takes for TradingView to load this up to where I can get a wide enough view. Filecoin's tricky just because it hasn't technically pulled up the whole right side yet. A couple of them are like this, but for me, with this theory, with Filecoin $1.97, because once it breaks that, technically it's breaking what would be considered the head here. So if $1.97 breaks, it's over. But furthermore, you don't even really have to wait that long. If it came down below 215, it's probably a problem. You're not looking for rejection here. This Filecoin's tricky because it's showing what could be a little head and shoulders, but I don't believe it. I think it's just kind of a weird thing there. But Data, you'll see it much better what I'm talking about with the inverse head and shoulders. And I put all the points of Data. But back here looks like it came down to a big left shoulder right here. Let me get my arrow out. So back here, big left shoulder on the drop. Came down and formed the big head with the boom and then the head and then back over. Now, is this a shoulder or is this a wider part of the pattern that this builds later? And like maybe it comes out here eventually. But this could have just been exhaustion. And then it went left shoulder, head, right shoulder forming. But either way, I believe this is a big formation where we have a bottoming formation clearly. But it looks like a big Gartley reversal here. And then it just looks like it's getting ready to explode. But it's invalidated if it loses 0.0119. And if that happened, it's coming to probably 0.008. But if it lost this big formation now, it might come farther. So, but if it comes below 0.119, it's invalidated. That whole thesis would be invalidated and it would blow up. Just about as fast as it's set up. But right now, not bad, up 5.12% on the day. So it's not a bad move for data. Magic one we talked about, ironically, a couple days ago, was up 39%, led the way. So, you know, it is what it is. Can never quite tell exactly which way they're going to go or, you know, how the rhythm's going to go. That's why you kind of just got to buy what you believe and then you got to sit. Especially when it's in the formidable spots. These are the most action areas. I like the action areas. Just took 6 months to get here. Let me say hi to some of you. But first, good evening. 7:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, July 8th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So, what a day, what a day, what a day. Frankie Fresh, welcome in, along with Defined Group. Thank you both for being in Town Zone for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. Joseph, Mark, Shane, welcome in. Big Dog, good evening, and thanks for being in Town Zone for 3+, or your second month with Dusty Dallas Crypto News. What up, Tom? New ETF is a nothing. Bitcoin 70%, Ethereum 15%, Solana 8%, crypto. CRO was up like 20-something%, I thought. I seen. I have like 30,000 or 40,000 crypto. I always forget I have CRO only because of my crypto.com debit card. So I bought the tokens. And then I got a better card so I could do more. The prepaid stupid card. But it's not stupid, actually. It serves a purpose, a good one for me. Ben, welcome in and thanks for being in Town Zone for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. Alec Tony, welcome in and thanks for being in Town Zone for your second month with Dusty House Crypto News. Areli, good evening, and thank you so much for continuing to tune in. I'm glad I haven't scared you away yet. Value Transport, follow Tom every day, just waiting for the day he is blinged out like Mr. T with a mohawk after XRP hits. Oh, it doesn't just have to be XRP, my friend. It doesn't just have to be XRP, but that would definitely be the day. I would love it to be XRP because of what we do here. Oh, you better believe it. You better fucking believe it. Excuse my French. Tanya, welcome in, love, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for well over 2 years now with the XRP 589 Moon Badge, and I'm so glad to see you in the audience this evening. Makes me so very happy. So very happy. Angel, good evening. Moza here, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Jamie Nelson, good evening, and thanks for your continued support and helping support my work, being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. John Page, good evening. Michael, welcome in. Mark Powell, welcome. Momo, I keep FOMO buying. I need to stop it. Better go up. I mean, right now, technically, if you're FOMO buying, I mean, yeah, technically you could say it's FOMO, but if you're buying it because of the inverse head and shoulders pattern, you really have no choice but to buy it on this right shoulder. Hey, I like how I put XXLM plus R.6% on day. See, because when I set it up, because YouTube is weird, I can't quite see it because it makes me do it sideways with the screen, like, as if it's vertical, but it still keeps it, I don't know how to explain it. So I'm typing it upside down, but sideways. It's so dumb. Yeah, I still have Murphy's Oil. I just don't have it on here because I ran out of spaces. But yeah, that's one that I was trying to get everybody to look at, but I felt like it was just not that it was old, not that people weren't listening, but I couldn't keep it. I didn't have enough room. That's why you don't see, there's two of them on here that I just don't have enough room. Because I added back on here H bar to the front screen, IOTA. So I had to take off like the non-dividend paying ones. I like to take off first. Well, not Fortuna, but like Hecla and Dolly Varden, because those aren't the specific ones that I recommend. So I try to keep on the ones that if somebody's looking, I feel comfortable on. But I mean, metals got hammered today. The mining stocks, they had a nice retracement. But that's good for crypto. See, now it's working good because money finds yield. So if people are finding more positivity in risk assets, some of that money left that sector and came here. I love playing both sides of the sectors. Oh, man. It's like Christmas every other fucking day, I swear. Amanda O'Shea, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Let's see. John Patak, Kyle Kupiak, thank you both for being in Tom's Army. Kyle for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Cape Cod Kyle from Massachusetts. And John Patak for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon badge. John Patak says massive long taking out an XRP. Well, it's now or never at that point, because technically, if you're looking to take out a long, and even if you're looking for a micro move to like 265, what percentage is that? Is that what, 15% or something? I know it's not 30. It's like 13 to 15 maybe at this price level. Let's see. I just want to see it from 229. So from pivot to pivot, it's a 15.8% move. So that's what you'd be looking at here on this setup, short term. And if you break that, well, then you can have a big move. Then you could start coming up to these big levels where you start doubling your portfolio from here. How would it feel to double our portfolio from 23,000 to 46? Don't toy with me. Because now we're talking big moves if this happens. Just like if XLM maxed out, you know, you're talking about 2,500 here on a 10,000 token move for a 1x. XRP, on the other hand, you're talking about on 10,000 tokens. It depends how you have it. You know, it depends how you have it layered out. So it's fun to watch it and talk about it a little bit. I'm also waiting for the moment where Algo and IOTA start to actually do something here, because I know they're going to. I also know DGB is going to do something. It's just with all the rhetoric, I decided not to do anything with it unless it comes on BITUNIX. Even though it pains me not to, it's just the experience with the Digibyte wallet was not a good one. Even though I got my stuff back. So I decided to just wait off until they come on BITUNIX. If it's on BITUNIX, oh my God. I'd be so happy. I just hope they don't do it, you know, after it already has a significant rally. But, you know, it is what it is. XRP healthcare, I'm just waiting for the moment. 1, 2, 3 years. I don't know when it's going to be. But anyhow, I keep blabbing. But I want to go through on this with XRP. It's already been 18 minutes, and look what I've done. We got 22 minutes until the daily close, which will be a very important one today. We want to see XRP close at minimum over 229. I want to see it close over the pivot point. We can see here he came over this rising triangle, and it's perfectly placed because that pivot layer is at 229, and that's where this pattern is seemingly taking us. And now that we push back out of it, maybe it's a little lower because this looks like it should be. It was 229 before, but now in current times it looks like it's a little bit lower. Hold on. Yeah, that's better. So it's more like 228 now. Whatever. It's still over that area, but the pivot point's 229. But as we continue going, we've hit the apex point. We've been talking about this. July 9th is the apex. That's tomorrow. So it's due. And these are, I know it looks more, I can be misconstrued as like a rising wedge, but I believe these are more like rising triangles. These are like ascending triangles almost. These are bullish continuations typically. Unless for whatever reason there's a massive sell pressure, like some kind of bad news comes out of left field or something that's perceived where the chart gets some red candles. This is technically a bullish continuation, at least the 265. Then it can decide, but that's what it's trying to signal us is, well, it's technically 261, but I say 265 because that's the pivot point. So that's where it would probably max out if it runs out of steam. Ricci, welcome in. Good afternoon, and thanks for being in Time Zone for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. CJ2 Pilot, welcome in, and appreciate you being in Time Zone for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Jorge, thank you for being in Time Zone for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor, and also being a very trusted mod. Said lowest I got on XRP Healthcare was 5, even not bad. Remember, it went all the way up to... Fuck. It went way up. I don't know when. We might even get... I'm hoping to get a chance farther down again. But I don't know, because it's been riding this support for so long. And after this dump down, that's what we needed. Some dump down to where it kind of flipped the bot. The trading algorithm. Could get a back test at 475. Who knows? Melt back down, maybe. But just like I said before, I don't really pay attention to it. I just, I wait. And, But it went up to, where was it at? 49 cents. So, you guys seen what it did in the one cycle. And that, it's just kind of revving it up on a whole all-time little cup and handle they're setting up. So, that's going to be very interesting when it eventually does play out. XLM, I'm very happy what it did today. Up 4.6%. As a group, I know some of you are like, I just want to see some red. At least you got to see a little red today, if not just for a day. Because who knows what happens tomorrow. I know some of you already sold out, which is fine. I am privy to that information as a copy trader. I can see it on my screen how many are still in. Maybe I should put it on the spot right now. No, I'm just kidding. But that's the beauty of it. If you're like, hey, I'm up $100 or I'm up $150 or whatever the case may be, and you're like, I want to take this, you're allowed to sell out. That's why, that's the beauty of it. I have no control. That's why, like, when I talk about copy trading, I'm like, people are scamming people, telling them to send them the actual, you don't send anything. You have to do it yourself. You know, but assuming you did it like I did, it's up $126. I know some are wanting to take that. 5%. Easy win. But I'm not looking at it that way. I'm looking at it for this, you know, to play out here. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this to play out. And I don't know if it's going to play out in our favor. Like, I have no way of knowing if this inverse head and shoulders plays out. But right now it's on a good projectile right now. This is what we wanted to see. Yesterday we bought it when it looked like it was in the depths of hell, but we also knew we had some nice money flowing into it. And I loved how we did it yesterday during live. It made me feel so good. That's why I was willing to do it with the group. That's why I decided to do it within the Telegram. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, I'm not going to explain it right now. What you have to do is go into the Telegram and then go into the side group swing trading. And then you'll be able to go back and you'll be able to, you know, understand. And then if you want to be a part of it, you can, but it's not me doing anything. It's an equal part. The only difference is I'm putting in I have to press enter. And then some of you decide to tag. But anyhow, the one thing that I continue to see here, which makes me very happy with XLM, is look at the money flow right now. It's essentially tapered off, and instead of going into red, it's kind of bottoming out, and it almost looks like we're about to round here. And that's what we were seeing yesterday too. And that's something to be seen. We also seen it with data in the MACD. And that's one that I'm like, you know what? I'll be damned if just because I don't know what the right word would be. But I wanted at least, what did I do? $2,500 maybe. But I just have I have a feeling that this is going to be one like MXC, how it just all of a sudden went ballistic. You know, and I just have that feeling that at some point that's going to happen. Yeah, 161,931 tokens of data. So it's like $2,500 maybe, 2,400 and something. But I wanted exposure to it because I have a feeling, and if it goes 6, 7x like that, you know, you're talking that's a $12,000 move. Or if it goes 4x, that's a $10,000 move. If it goes 2x, that's a $5,000 move. Like, sheesh, sign me up. If it goes down, well, you know, so be it. But this is what I was seeing. That red is starting to flip back to light, and it looks like it's starting to rotate in a big way. And then, like, when I matched it up against the RSI, and I like doing it on here because it's bigger. So use the website. See how it's rounding on the RSI? It's back in neutral. Very, very mediocre neutral. A good area to round, too. Good area to round. So I feel good about that. Now, Bitcoin, remember yesterday when it was under, and we were during the live, and we're like, well, I know it looks like it's down, but now all of a sudden what's going to happen is we're going to look at it, and then all of a sudden we're going to come back on here. Then it's going to be over 108, and then it's going to be over 109, and then all of a sudden it's going to make the push if it gets the validation to at least 113, 113.6. Then it's technically got a shot up to 118.2. And because it's in a very similar style formation to XRP, I don't think it's a rising wedge necessarily, more like a, if you look at it, more like a rising triangle. But I mean, you could say it's wedgy, but just take it away from here and you just say it's more like a rising triangle. And these are technically bullish continuations, if that's what it's playing out to. But I don't know. We'll see. This is only a projection, so who the hell really knows? But it follows through the projection pretty nicely if you come back here. But then some could be like, hey, isn't that kind of... Yes, I know what you're going to say, but I don't think so. But if it gets held off at 113.6, well, then maybe we can keep talking about that. But right now, I think we don't want to be afraid. And we don't want to miss opportunity. That's why yesterday, I think in the title, I said it pretty strategically with XLM. And what did I say yesterday? I don't remember. I said XLM fails to close above, or XRP fails to close above 229. And then I said XLM presents a golden opportunity for the patient buyer today, which was yesterday. And, you know, it wasn't too patient because it's up 4.6%. But that's not the golden opportunity. The golden opportunity is to not sell the 4.61% if you think that inverse head and shoulder is going to pan out. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, and I would never tell you not to sell 4.6% gain, you know, if that's what you want to do. But I'm looking for more meat on the bones. Like, I don't trade typically just to sell at 4.6%. I find over time if I swing trade, I'll end up losing no matter how good I do, because then I'll miss out on opportunity. And then what ends up happening, if I'm in something, I trade it out for 5%, get into something out, it goes 5%, get into something else, and I make 10%. I'm like, oh, man, I did 3 good trades. But then one of the two, if not both of the ones I just jumped out of, go up 75%. Now I'm chasing. Now I'm looking for one that hasn't moved, and I'm like, well, that one is more risky. So if these moved, so then I'm putting in a bigger stack, and then what ends up happening, that one gets cut by the balls, drops 20%. Now I'm fucking panicked. You sell out of that, and then all of a sudden it reverses for 80%. Now you're kicking yourself in the dick, and you're like, well, what the hell is going on? I don't understand this. That's how you get the emotional, you know. That's why right now the swing trader is going to get cut. And the holder right now, I firmly believe, if you're trying to rally into something, you have to be a holder right now. And a lot of these gave an opportunity. I'm not saying XRP, this is where I would buy it. But this is where if you think it's going to make a rally, you would have to, because that 229 pivot's a big point. But I think there's better opportunities, don't get me wrong. But that doesn't mean I'm going to sell my $23,000 worth. You know, but I don't know. Everybody's situation's different. But I have a lot of exposure to IOTA. Well, not a lot. But 30,000 tokens of IOTA, 30,000 tokens of Algo, 30,000 tokens of HBAR is my exposure to those three. It was just at that moment. I've been watching them for too long. On this rotation, you guys know, like I sold Algo out, it was twice as high as it is right now on this rally. When I sold IOTA, it was up near 30 cents on the last previous rally. So it's like, now it's like, am I going to really wait much longer? Or am I at least going to try to ride out these patterns that are setting up? Because if this is a pattern that's set up and this actually breaks out, why would I feel like a fucking moron You know, after selling way out up here, not buying it back after it's already cut down 70%. Like, what do you, I had to come to a point where I was looking at this and it's like, what are you waiting for? Are you kidding me? Like, you can't do that. Look at it. It went all the way up to 62 cents. I think I sold it somewhere when it was over here on this part because I'm like, nope, something ain't right here. Because it should swing up, but I don't think, I'm not getting that impression. Yeah, 75% down, and it's like, well, what am I waiting for? Same thing happened with Algo. It was the exact same scenario. You know, it had a massive, and now it's on the outside breaking out, and then it's breaking out of that as well. It's consolidation, and it back tested it. So then I just had to have a talk with myself and say, listen, asshole, you know what you know, what you know, what you know. So just go with what you know. So it was a big lesson to me when we were swing trading over the weekend. Yeah, we made a little bit of money. Well, actually, it was decent, a few thousand over the weekend. But what ended up happening by Monday, some of those leverage positions or some of those spot positions, you know, ended up kind of working against, because especially if you were in a leverage position, even though the trade panned out, you're getting stopped out. That's why I don't like leverage. So a lot of people in the group, I think, are not exactly excited. Some aren't as excited, but some are, because they wanted to do at least 3x or 5x or 10x when I was doing the group trades. And I basically said, no, this is the way it's going to go. 1x. Slow and steady wins the race. Remember, when $2,500, a 10% move is $250. $25,000, a 10% move is $2,500. So you have to remember, you know, that's why the tortoise wins the race. The rabbit gets out to a big lead, but tires himself out, and it becomes overzealous, and you miss a lot of stuff when you're rushing the process. Don't rush the process. That's why we're doing what we're doing. Papa Wheelie says, website looking good. Tom was on there yesterday. I appreciate that. Really appreciate that. What sport are you coaching this time of the year? For Defined Group. Oh, Defined Group, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's on for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. And coaching as well. Excellent. Yeah, I want to know what he's coaching too. My last team I ever coached, I coached flag football, as you guys know. And I won the championship. And then the season before that, we came in second. Yeah, I got pulled out of retirement to coach for my nephew. And then we came in second. Then he didn't want to coach anymore. And then there was a shortage over in Bloomfield Hills. And I coached the team. And hey, sure as shit, we won. Good times, good times. Good times, good times. Can't say that I am, JD, unfortunately. Can't say that I am. That was one of the things I was talking about. That's where you, the swinging back and forth, back and forth. It's just, you have to see the move through, and that's what I'm going to do. Let's see. You're always going to have a retest. Everything's always going to have a retest. XLM hasn't done shit to retest. The retest is back here. Listen, the bottom line is when I trade, I don't care how much it back tests now. As long as it holds that inverse right shoulder that it's breaking out of right now, I'm riding this until it goes all the way up to the end of this move. It's going to have a series of back tests. And you'll have to make a decision as we come up. But my ideal portion here would be to ride this all the way up. You know, at least up to 51, but I think there's going to come a point where this is going to break out, and if we do it properly, it's going to be just like XRP. We're not going to see XLM at fucking 26, well, now it's 26 cents, but or 25.9. You get what I'm saying? At some point, we're not going to be talking about it under 50. Like, I just don't see it. So we're going to always have to talk about, hey, it's at 55 or 60, maybe even $1. Who knows by that point? But I know we're not going to get these opportunities forever. And that's what I keep thinking about with Algo and IOTA. Like, as much as I talk about them, it's like, I know we're not going to be talking about it forever, saying, hey, are we going to buy it at 18 cents? Or with IOTA, are we going to buy it at 16 cents? It's going to be more like, are we going to buy it at $2? Are we going to buy it at $3? You know, I think a lot of people forget IOTA made it to $6 in the last big bull market in 2021, too. Algo was at, like, what, 253. So it almost became like they were trying to, I don't know. I just have to go with what I see. You know, H bar is another perfect example. Like when I sold it around 30 on the last rally, I kept saying, "Oh, I'm going to buy it here. I'm going to buy it there. I'm going to buy it at this price." Well, then it gets to this price, and I was sitting here. Remember when I was like, "I'll buy it around right where it's at," and we had this marked out, and then it comes down here and does exactly what I want: big shoulder in the left shoulder, big head, and this looks like it's still a right shoulder here. That formed, it was just declined. But now it formed like a left shoulder, head, right shoulder on its own. But overall, you've got a bigger pattern. And if this plays out, it's not just got a short-term cup. But this is what I see here. And this is why my brain's in overdrive right now. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Smaller term, right here. Here, rounding. Then you also have where my brain's like, oh, wait a minute, Tom, pay attention. Swinging all the way around. But then you could say it could be swinging all the way around. You know, so which layer? Or you could say, well, it's swinging all the way around. So you've got one of three areas, 28.7, 35, 40. So it's like when I'm watching this, it's like, even if it had the micro move, either one of them, you've got multiple ones. We already hit the first layer, so that's check. Second layer is at like 18.8. So it's like, at what point am I going to be like, oh, well, shit, I need to buy this. I certainly didn't want to wait for 30, 40, 50, 75% back up. Even though it would still be way down from where it started, you can kind of see what's starting to happen here. It's going to slowly happen until it's not slowly anymore. Because we're getting into the most volatile parts of the pattern. These are where I like to have exposure. Good or bad, you win some, you lose some. But don't let yourself bash your head through the wall here. This is where you have to be very locked in and not care. Turn your emotion off. Easier said than done. I certainly get that. Let's see. Hey man, welcome in. Let's see. Ryan Weeks, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. Ryan Weeks. Why does that name sound familiar? Ryan Weeks. Oh, because I knew a Greg Weeks. Ironically, that's why that name sounds familiar. But thank you so much for being in town. Well, plus the fact you're in here too. But thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. That helps out more than anybody even knows. Zayla, welcome in. CRO being announced and Trump ETF is why. Oh, no shit. Are you serious? Oh, I need to see how many CRO I actually have. I didn't see that. Are you being serious or are you just jollying me? Hey, I keep exposure to it. Let's see. Plus, that's the only way to get my airdrops, too. I know it sounds stupid, but it's something I enjoy. Not many take advantage of it. Oh, yeah, you can see where the big bump happened on CRO. So I have, in total... I have 33,766 CRO locked in this account right here. And then there's a minor, small amounts of other ones. So about 40,000 tokens of CRO. So who knows what's going to happen with that. And then I get rewarded every time I use my card. So I get a few hundred to maybe a few thousand in rewards and all that. So... you know, who knows? Maybe it'll add up to something nice. You never know. And instead of getting like your cashback rewards where you just get dollars, on the crypto Visa debit card when you do it, it's prepaid, but you get CRO like 3.5% or just depending on which card you have, and it just gives you CRO. Am I gonna? No, I still love DGB. I just don't love the way I have to buy it right now. That's all. And the fact that I can't trust the wallet makes me not love it anymore. But I'm still XRP future millionaire with the side bet on XLM future Digibyte OG. And I reside in the great state of Michigan. And, you know, I still like DGB. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I need to have it set up to where I don't feel like I'm going to lose it all, if that makes any sense. Hey, I can't help my experience, you know, but I also can't not like what I think I know, even if it's not exactly 100% what I would like. Crypto Plumber, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with Dusty Autos Crypto News, along with Poppy Lou. Thank you both so much. Means a lot. Let's see. Shane, welcome in. Dennis Smith, welcome. Says Jorge, my friend and fellow Canuck. Look at that. Look at that. Being overrun by Canucks. What is my Telegram name? Here, I'll share it. You won't be able to get in unless I share it. It's private. Private. And the only rule is there are no rules. There are no warning. The only rule is you have to have integrity. I don't put rules, but if it doesn't vibe and all this other stuff, I'll just kick you out. Not you personally, unless you are personally being a dick. But, you know, that's all. Just, we're positivity over negativity. We're winners, not victims. But we're very helpful, not hurtful. So we need to stay on the same page and we can't be hurting people. So, you know, my rule is if there's somebody ruining the vibe, I just kick them out. I've been doing this for 4 years. I went 3 years without allowing people in. Sean Crothers, welcome in, my main man from Maine. Yeah, I've looked into XCN big time. We've talked about it a lot, actually. It's got to be getting close. It's got that big inverse head and shoulders. That's another one that I feel like, unless it just breaks down because they have a huge sell candle, that's another one. That's why I've got it set up like that. It's got to be getting close. Like, unless it's going to break down and have a big sell-off, it's got to be getting close. Now, sure, it can keep validating the uptrend, but it's got to be getting close. Unless it's meant to just dump out and this was a trap. You know, that could be the case with any of them, but it looks like it's really close on that inverse head and shoulders. So, it's kind of a waiting game here. I don't know when it's going to happen, if it happens at all. For all I know, they could say something stupid and the market could drop 20%. I really don't know. But just from a fundamental setup standpoint, it's setting up the way I want for this inverse head and shoulders to break out. Now, if it breaks down, you know, that's just something we'll have to deal with. And what I do is I like to write down how many tokens I have when I sell out. And then when I rebuy back in, even if the portfolio is smaller, as long as I have more tokens than when I started, then it's like I'm doing my job because, and I'm not talking about adding money. I'm talking about targeting the next area and being like, all right, well, it busted this pattern. So now instead of going up, it goes down. But sometimes that doesn't work. Some like an inverse head and shoulders. I've seen it to where it gets busted. And it's just overzealous bots that are trying to force people out by design. And then it goes down about 1/4 or 1/2 of 1%, maybe even a couple percent. Has the biggest V-shaped recovery you'll ever see. And then when you look at it from a farther scale, you're like, oh, well, look at that. That's just a shitty wick on the weekly or monthly. And people are like, oh, that inverse head and shoulder was clear as day. But when you're living it in the moment, you're like, oh, that's interesting. You can take a shower. All right, I love you. Look at me. I'm ultra perceptive.
What time is
It is 8:03. Got about 10 more minutes of this live. 10, 12 minutes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's still passed out, right? Yeah. Bitcoin made a higher high on CME. Beautiful. Yeah, no, we're cooking right now. We had good closes. XRP closed over 230. We're cooking. Actually over 231, I think. We cooked. XRM closed right at about 25.9 area, 26. This is good. We did exactly what we wanted to do today. Ethereum did a good job. Ethereum's the gatekeeper right now. We keep talking about how the golden pocket sits at 3,156, I think, or whatever it is. But that's where it looks like it's going. So exposure to Ethereum is not a bad idea, but it's gone up so much now. Yeah, right now, ACH is everything. Everything right now, if these inverse patterns play out, ACH is one of them. XCN's another one. Zill, VChain, Algo, IOTA, Theta, Filecoin, but Filecoin's tricky just because of the way it's set up, but it's still, it's in that same kind of a setup though. It just looks slightly different. Hold on, I gotta do one thing. Sorry about that. I wanted to make sure Julie had her towel and stuff. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, Ethereum looks great right now, the way it closed. Big inverse head and shoulder playing out. It actually dropped down and came down to that support structure. And it rounded. Nice V shape. It's doing exactly what you would expect. Obviously, it's got to push over this resistance. But I think it's hunting the golden pocket up here. Somewhere around here is the golden pocket. Well, a little bit lower, I think. I think it's like 3,150. Somewhere around there. And then that'll be where it either breaks or it just explodes. But, as they say, you never know when the big red candle will come, if it comes. So, a lot of things to pay attention out there in the abyss. So, you know, none of this is financial advice. This is more like, we're talking. And I've been a part of it where I'm down 15, 20, 25% as bear markets go. And then you continue to stick to the plan and do what you're going to do. And then all of a sudden you get through it. And then instead of being down 20%, now you're 6, 7, 8, 9xing. And when you look back at it, you're like, oh my God, I know I was down 20%, but shit. Look where it was at price-wise. But that's the foresight. You know, that's the foresight. And right now the foresight is are we going to break out of this inverse head and shoulders? You know, and it looks like we're trying to as we speak. XDC, I know it didn't have a big push on the day, but it had a great day. That's a great hold candle. After a breakout, that's a great hold candle. It barely gave anything back at all. Nice, it's still midway through. And it could just have a nice flush candle there. Not a bad candle in the daily. Even in the 4-hourly, it didn't give much back, but I would still like to see, I know it came down here in wick, but if it does hesitate some more, would like to see it push to 6.4 maybe. It's not a huge drop at all. It's just something that could give us a little bit more validation from a technical standpoint. XRP just holding 229. Or it's actually like 228.4. But, you know, you want to hold that pivot layer, so just make sure we hold this. Let's put it out in the future to 28.36. But that apex point is tomorrow. You know, it's July 9th, so it's tomorrow. 1970 Legend, thank you so much for the $9.99 donation. And also, for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor, says Go Bucks, the defending national champs. Well, we have the defending national champs and the defending champs. So at least the Big Ten has 2 years in a row. We haven't been able to say that in a long time. Very, very long time. Let's see. Defined group, coaching soccer, excellent. It's always nice to give back. It's always nice to give back. Still an XTC Tom sold about 30,000. Work still have 70,000. Nice. Joe Dirt wondering if they're holding back the market until July 14th crypto week peak. You never know. What is midterms? The craziest experience. I was in my Uber yesterday because I went to the Italian store, and I don't drive anymore because my left eye can't see out of it. And it was becoming a hassle the older I got. So about 2.5 years ago, I had to make a decision and just say, you know what? Can't do it no more. Carrie Hayes, good to see you as well, friend. So glad to see you. My son's doing pretty good. Really good, actually, in comparison to where he was at. Goes to therapies 3 days a week, and you know, he gets some help, special needs and whatnot. But his feedings with the G-tube inside, he's coming along real nice. He's the best version of what he could possibly be, which makes me very happy, and he's very happy all the time. But what was I gonna say? Shit. With the midterm, with the Uber driver, was just rambling on and on. Like, I did something with the drivers. I switched it, and I said that I wanted more. Let's just say, I don't know how to call. I don't know what to call them. Fantastic. My boy has autism. Non-verbal, but has got me by his side. Yes, sir. Yeah, yes. My son, like yours, autism, non-verbal. But I wouldn't trade him for the world. He's my world, and he's I don't know. I can't imagine him any other way. Like, I don't want him to be any other way. Like, everybody's like, oh, autism, and that. I see it as a blessing. Like, he's gonna be able to go through this world, and as long as we set it up, I know I won't be able to be here 100% of his life. Well, you never know. You never know if you're gonna outlive your kids, but I can put things in places with gold and silver and just different kind of trust for him to where he's taken care of, in theory. But you know, it's an interesting life, but I don't know. I wouldn't change it at all. I wouldn't. He's got the greatest personality and the way he sees the world, and it's just beautiful. Synapse Sin has lifted off on BITUNIX. That runs. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna have to look into it. But I gotta get going. That's the problem. Julie's in the shower. My son was sleeping, but I gotta go check on him. But yeah, I thought this was a great live. We'll do this again very soon. It's just been so nice to be able to do at least 3 pieces of content. But yeah, just 229. As long as this holds, what's gonna give us our further signal for a bigger push up and a bigger pump here is if we can hold 234. Once that's held, that should ignite us up to 261 to 265 range. It really should. So, but I got dad duty to do. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate the couple donations. And I appreciate everybody who contributes and everybody who tries to help in the Telegram. So on and so forth. And yeah. Thank you all so much. I'm going to go do dad stuff now. I got to go take care of